start with cyber, because we hear from various people that there is a real risk of cybersecurity when it comes to the power grid.
Well, there is a risk. It's not a risk that just began yesterday. It's a risk that's evolved over a number of years. We've invested millions of dollars in systems and people to detect and repel these risks, and we literally do. We repel hundreds of risks every year in the industry. We work with other industry players and law enforcement to get ahead of these things, but the bad actors are continuing to evolve their capabilities, so it's something we have to stay ahead of.
And yet, Joe, we haven't, as far as I know, had a serious attack that succeeded against the power grid thus far. And we've heard remarkable numbers of attempts there are.
Sure.
Does that mean we're just doing a really good job? We don't need to worry about that much?
Well, it's never going to be something we say we don't have to worry about. It's going to be top of mind for every CEO, as was said earlier. But I think we do have our arms around it presently. It really comes in two phases: repelling the attacks and also be able to recover in the event an attack is successful. And we prepare equally on both sides of that.
So, as I say, you're CEO of a big company out here. As you sit down at your desk every day and you look at your risks, where does cyber rank? What are the other things that you're concerned about?
Well, as I said, cyber is certainly one of the things that is at the top of the list just because of the implications of a successful attack. The other thing that we worry about are the same things that are opportunities for our business, how we develop a two-way grid that accommodates more renewables as we deal with climate change, and that's something that's going to be an evolution as well in the system.
Well, where are we on that two-way grid? Because that's what we hear repeatedly, that we can develop all the solar we want, all the wind we want, but we don't have a way to really bring it in and store it and use it. It's not going to be much good.
Well, I think we're improving every day on that. I think what we certainly recognize is that if we believe the climate science, we're going to have to depend less and less on fossil fuels and, as a consequence, use renewables more. So storage is going to be introduced into the system. We need to improve the smartness, if you will, of the system to be able to handle two-way power flows. That's going to require additional investment, but we have a good eye on the technology that's going to allow us to do it.
Well, give us a sense. I think it's 4 million customers, roughly, you have, right?
Yep.
Around Chicago here and things. Of that customers, how many of those? So I'm a customer of ComEd. Can I say, okay, I've got this great solar thing, I've got this wind thing now, I'd like to store some energy, put it back into the grid. How many people, that 4 million, could do that today?
It's, well, everybody could do it. We really have relatively small numbers of customers who do it now. But we passed a landmark bill called the Future Energy Jobs Act in Illinois a couple of years ago. That is going to open the door for more solar adopters here in the state.
How is that going to affect your business? Take us through the revenues and the costs here. I mean, what does it mean to your bottom line, as it were, as you go into that two-way grid?
Well, our bottom line is unaffected. A lot of folks think that we make more money by selling more electricity, and therefore the more solar that comes on the system, the less revenues we make. In reality, we get paid for the wires of the business regardless of the volume that goes out through it.
And so how do you get paid? It's regulated, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Is it a cost-plus basis?
Yes, it is.
So basically the regulators are saying you get whatever it costs you plus some. So it really is neutral to you.
That's correct. We have to prove up to regulators that we need to make the system investments, and once they approve those system investments, we get a return on them.
Then where's the impetus to move? I mean, if you're not going to make more money by doing that, is it the regulators saying we really want you to have a two-way grid? Where does that impetus come from?
The impetus is coming from our customers. Across the board, and we're the nation's largest utility, we hear from 80 to 90% of our customers that they want to get clean. They believe climate change is a real issue for America, for their communities, and they want us to be a leading player in adopting these technologies that avoid it.
So what is your business telling you anything about the overall growth rate out here in Chicago? How is the economy going? Because presumably people use more power when they're doing more things.
Well, what we're seeing is a slight growth, but we have very effective energy efficiency programs that allow us to give our customers the tools to reduce energy consumption. So what we're seeing is something that is flattish to 1% in terms of electricity consumption. But you're right, the economy is doing very well here.
So look out over the horizon. When are we going to get to a world where we really have a two-way grid?
Well, I think we could get there in the span of about a decade. And I think we will be able to take the steps necessary, even in the next handful of years, to accommodate a lot more solar on the system. And I'm talking about 10% of the power in a relatively short period of time. When we look out over the horizon, we try to get 2050, where we have 100% clean energy, then there's going to be some challenges and things we need to start doing right away.